If your child is 10 today, they will be able to drive in 6 years. Buy the right car now, and they could be holding the keys before it has one serious problem. These are under $10,000 picks built for longer ownership, not payment traps. Number 1 is the small SUV I would keep until 2040. Number 12, 2013 to 2016 Chevrolet Sonic 1.8. Cheap little cars rarely get respect, but the Sonic 1.8 earns a spot because it keeps the long-term plan simple. Nobody dreams about handing this to their kids someday, and that is the advantage. You buy it low, keep money for service, and avoid the kind of payment that makes every repair feel brutal. I would stay with the 1.8-liter engine, not the 1.4 turbo, because clever parts become expensive when the car is old and the family budget is tight. The 1.8 has a timing belt, basic sensors, easy engine access, and enough shared GM hardware that a normal shop can work on it without acting confused. Today, clean examples usually sit around $4,500 to $9,000, while a new entry compact or small crossover can push past $20,000 before taxes, fees, and dealership extras. That difference is your repair cushion. Over 15 years, plan for oil changes, coolant service, tires, brakes, suspension wear, plugs, hoses, batteries, and one timing belt service with the water pump. Realistic maintenance and repair costs are roughly $7,000 to $10,000 if rust stays controlled and the owner handles basics early. That sounds like real money, but it is calmer than buying another newer car because the first one got boring. The Sonic survives because the engine bay is basic, parts are common, and there are not many luxury gadgets waiting to fail. Ask for timing belt proof, check coolant leaks, listen for front-end clunks, inspect rust underneath, and make sure the automatic shifts smooth after a warm drive. If the seller says the belt was probably done, treat it as not done. Also, price tires and brakes before buying, because worn rubber and thin pads can turn a cheaper car into a quick catch-up bill. Change oil on time, keep coolant fresh, replace the timing belt before guessing, and do not ignore suspension noise. In 2040, a clean Sonic still makes sense as a local commuter, because small cars with normal repairs will always have a job. Choose this car when you want the lowest entry price and would rather save money for maintenance than impress anybody. If your kid is 10 today, this is the type of car that can survive your use, their learning years, and local work miles without turning every repair into a family meeting. It is not glamorous, but a reliable, cheap car with records beats a shiny payment trap every single time. Next is a car that feels more grown-up without dragging you into luxury repair pain. Number 11, 2013 to 2016 Buick Verano 2.4. A small Buick sounds like a weird long-term pick, but the Verano makes sense when you want comfort without luxury car drama. The market forgot it because it was not flashy enough to feel premium and not cheap-looking enough to feel like basic transportation. That is exactly why I would look at the regular 2.4-liter version, not the turbo pitch. The base engine, conventional automatic, quiet cabin, and familiar GM layout make it a better 15-year bet than most people expect. Today, normal examples usually sit around $6,000 to $10,000, while a new small, near-premium car or Buick crossover can push deep into the $20,000 range before you even talk warranty add-ons. Over 15 years, the budget for oil changes, coolant, transmission fluid, tires, brakes, struts, motor mounts, batteries, spark plugs, and some aging electronics. Realistic service and repair cost is roughly $8,000 to $12,000 if you buy clean, keep oil fresh, and do not ignore noises. The weak spot to respect is timing chain noise on cold start, because a quiet Buick with neglected oil can still become costly. The reason it survives is that it uses common GM hardware, not rare luxury parts that punish you for every broken switch. The cabin is the bonus, not the excuse to skip inspection. Start it cold, listen for chain rattle, check oil level, scan for codes, test every power accessory, and make sure the automatic shifts smooth after warming up. Also, run the air conditioning, windows, locks, radio, and seat controls, because comfort features only matter when they work. In 2040, the Verano still makes sense for someone who wants a calmer commuter with a mature cabin and normal repair bills instead of modern luxury payments. Choose this car when you want a cheap car that feels more comfortable and grown up than a basic compact. I would put this in the hands of a young driver who respects maintenance and wants something quiet enough for school, work, and highway miles. It will not make anybody jealous, but it can keep the family away from another payment. I would rather buy the plain Verano with receipts than the loaded one with mystery fluids, because quiet ownership depends on boring proof, not leather, chrome, shiny wheels, loud promises, or seller confidence at all. Next is larger, stronger, and built for people who drive real highway miles. If long-term ownership advice helps, subscribe. We look for reliable cars, simple repairs, and choices that still make sense years later for families on budgets. Number 10. 2013 to 2016 Ford Taurus 3.5. Big sedans are disappearing from dealer lots, and that makes the Taurus feel like a secret highway tool. Most buyers want crossovers now, so a full-size Ford sedan gets dismissed as old, heavy, and out of fashion. I get the complaint, but I also know what steady highway miles do to a car. A regular Taurus with the naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6, not the SHO, is built around familiar Ford family hardware and a calm personality. Current used prices usually sit around $6,000 to $10,000 for normal SEL and limited examples, while a new roomy crossover can push past $30,000 before taxes and fees. Over 15 years, I would budget for tires, brakes, coolant, transmission service, batteries, suspension parts, wheel bearings, power accessories, and maybe water pump inspection money if coolant loss shows up. Realistic maintenance and repair spend is roughly $9,000 to $13,000 because this car is heavier than a compact and uses larger parts. That is not tiny money, but compare it to replacing vehicles every few years because you hate repair planning. The Taurus survives when it is used for what it likes. Smooth highway miles, not pretending to be sporty. The 3.5 Duratec is familiar, the platform is common, and parts support is strong enough that normal shops do not panic. Check transmission shift quality, coolant smell, wheel bearing hum, rear suspension noise, and every power seat, mirror, window, and climate control feature. A big sedan can hide worn parts behind a quiet cabin, so drive it at 70 miles per hour and listen carefully. If it drones, wanders, or bangs over bumps, budget suspension and bearings before you buy. Service transmission fluid, keep coolant clean, rotate tires, and replace weak batteries before voltage problems make the electronics annoying. In 2040, a clean Taurus still works for highway commuters who want stable comfort and do not care that sedans fell out of fashion. Choose this car when you drive long miles and want full-size comfort without crossover prices. I would choose it for someone who has a daily commute, aging parents to visit, or long interstate drives where a small car feels loud and tired. It is not trendy, but highway comfort keeps mattering after every new car smell fades for real daily owners. Next is the car for someone who wants the decade to feel a little more fun. Number 9. 2014 to 2016 Scion TC. Forget the teenager image for a minute, because the later TC is more than a loud coupe with a cheap stereo. Smart buyers overlook it because Scion is gone, the body looks youthful, and too many used examples have been lowered, tinted, or abused. That is exactly why clean stock cars matter. The right TC gives you a 2.5-liter Toyota 4-cylinder, front-wheel drive, a manual or regular automatic, and a hatch that makes it more useful than people expect. It is not a sports car. It is a durable compact coupe that feels alive without bringing exotic repair bills. Today, higher-mile clean examples often sit around $7,000 to $10,000, while a new sporty compact or entry coupe-style car can push close to $30,000 once fees and taxes hit. That price gap matters when you are thinking 15 years, not 15 months. We have seen families buy a kid something boring, then watch that kid trade it for trouble as soon as they earn a paycheck. A TC can avoid that fight because it gives enough style and steering feel to keep the driver interested without handing them turbo power or German repair bills. Over 15 years, plan for oil changes, tires, brakes, coolant, batteries, spark plugs, struts, suspension bushings, and clutch work if you buy the manual. A realistic long-term budget is about $7,500 to $11,000 if the car stays stock and does not get treated like a parking lot race toy. The reason it survives is simple. Toyota hardware in a body, light enough to avoid chewing through parts like a heavy crossover. Avoid modified cars first. Check clutch feel, oil use, suspension clunks, crash repairs, tire wear, hatch leaks, and whether the engine idles smooth after warming up. Look for stock wheels, normal ride height, and boring receipts. because those tell you the car had a calmer life. In 2040, a clean TC still works because simple engines, manual options, and hatch utility will age better than cheap turbo complexity. Choose this car when you want something more engaging than a commuter, but still want Toyota-style repair logic. Next is the grown-up badge for the driver who wants Honda bones without looking like they borrowed a student car. Number 8. 2013 to 2015. Acura ILX 2.0. Quiet confidence is the reason I like this ILX. Even if most shoppers do not understand it, it gets ignored because it is not flashy enough to feel like true luxury, and not cheap enough in image to feel like a basic economy car. That middle ground is the buying opportunity. The smart version is the 2.0-liter ILX with Honda family hardware, a conventional automatic, and a compact body that stays easy to own. I am not chasing status here. I want a first adult car that can survive school, work, commuting, and the early years when money is tight but reliability still matters. Current used prices for higher-mile clean cars often run around $7,000 to $10,000. A new Acura Integra sits far above that budget, so the ILX gives the grown-up premium compact idea without the modern payment. That is the kind of math a parent or careful buyer should respect. You get better seat material, a quieter cabin, and a more mature feel than a regular compact, but you are not stepping into a used German sedan where every dashboard light feels expensive. Over 15 years, plan for oil changes, transmission fluid, coolant, brakes, tires, batteries, motor mounts, suspension wear, spark plugs, and air conditioning service. Realistic maintenance and repair costs are about $8,000 to $12,000 if you buy clean and keep up with fluids. It survives because it is more Honda than a luxury experiment. You are not paying for heavy, complicated systems that age into annoying bills. The cabin feels more mature than a basic compact, but the repair story stays familiar. In the shop, that means common sensors, normal brakes, regular suspension parts, and service procedures most independent mechanics already understand. Check accident history, uneven tire wear, smooth automatic shifts, working air conditioning, clean oil, engine mounts, and warning lights after a warm drive. I would also check the front bumper, headlights, and hood gaps because compact luxury cars often hide parking lot hits. In 2040, the ILX still makes sense for a young driver who wants a grown-up daily without gambling on German repair bills. Choose this car when you want a first adult car your kid can keep through school, work, and early career years. The next pick brings fuel savings into the 15-year math, and that is where the story gets interesting. Number 7. 2011 to 2015 Lexus CT 200H. Fuel savings do not look exciting on day one, but over 15 years, they can change the whole ownership story. The Lexus CT 200H is not fast, and that is probably good. Buyers skip it because it looks small, rides firm, and does not feel like the big, soft Lexus they expect. But underneath, it borrows Toyota hybrid logic in a premium hatchback body, and that is why it belongs here. Current higher-mile examples can be found around $8,000 to $10,000, while a new Lexus hybrid crossover costs several times that. And even a new Prius sits in the high $20,000 range before real-world costs. If gas prices climb again, that old hybrid suddenly looks smarter every week. Over 15 years, the budget for engine oil, engine coolant, inverter coolant, tires, brakes, spark plugs, suspension, 12-volt batteries, and hybrid battery assessment. Realistic long-term cost is about $9,000 to $14,000, with the hybrid battery as the big inspection item. The reason it survives is the Toyota hybrid system. Engine stress stays low, regenerative braking can help brake life, and the car is not dragging around heavy SUV hardware. This is not the car for someone who wants speed or big cargo. It is the car for someone who counts fuel stops, repair risk, and comfort per dollar. We have seen hybrid taxis and commuter cars pile on miles because the whole system rewards smooth driving. The CT is smaller and firmer, but the same logic applies. Do maintenance, keep the cooling system healthy, and do not ignore warning lights. Check hybrid battery health, service records, inverter coolant, tire wear, warning lights after a warm drive, and brake feel. Also, make sure the hatch area is dry and the tires are not mismatched. because premium hatchbacks still suffer from cheap owner habits. I would not buy it without a proper hybrid scan, because guessing on battery health is lazier. I also would not panic over miles if the records are strong. Hybrids punish neglect more than age. A clean, high-mile CT with steady service can be a better bet than a lower-mile one with warning lights, cheap tires, and missing history. That is the 15-year lesson. Battery health, fluids, tires, and records matter more than the shine on the paint or the badge on the hatch. That is where smart money wins. In 2040, the CT still makes sense because fuel savings, hatchback utility, and Toyota hybrid parts. Knowledge will still matter. Choose this car when you want the long-term fuel economy story with a nicer cabin than a normal economy car. Next is the sedan that does not need explaining, but the right year range matters. If you want cars chosen for 15 years, subscribe. We look past hype and focus on repairs, records, and long-term math. Number 6. 2012 to 2014 Toyota Camry 2.5. Boring becomes beautiful when the same car has to survive school, work, marriage, kids, and long highway weekends. The Camry is not the car that makes a young driver brag, but that is exactly why it belongs in a 15-year plan. I would target the 2.5-liter four-cylinder because it gives enough power for daily life, enough room for growing needs, and simple repair logic every shop understands. Today, higher mile but clean examples usually sit around $7,500 to $10,000, while a new Camry starts around $29,000 before taxes, fees, and the usual payment pitch. That gap is the whole point. You are buying the boring years before depreciation and complexity eat the wallet. Over 15 years, expect oil changes, coolant, transmission fluid, tires, brakes, batteries, struts, spark plugs, maybe mounts, and the occasional sensor. A realistic long-term maintenance and repair budget is roughly $8,000 to $12,000 if the car starts with clean records and no hidden rust. The reason it survives is no mystery. The drivetrain is common, parts are everywhere, and mechanics have kept these cars alive through every kind of owner. Check oil history, automatic shift quality, suspension noise, water leaks, air conditioning, tire wear, and whether it tracks straight at highway speed. Keep fluids fresh, rotate tires, fix struts before the ride gets loose, and never ignore coolant loss. In 2040, the Camry still makes sense because a roomy, efficient sedan with cheaper parts will always be useful, even when dealers keep pushing crossovers. Choose this car when you want one car that can start as a commuter and grow into a family sedan without feeling like a gamble. I also like it for the buyer who hates surprises. A Camry with dull paint, matching tires, and thick receipts can be better than a shiny one with no paperwork. That is how we buy for time, not attention. For a 15-year plan, I would rather see boring service notes than fancy wheels, because wheels do not stop overheating, slipping, or tire wear. If the seller kept every oil change, every tire receipt, and every coolant service, that is value. A family car should not need drama to prove itself. It should just show up every morning. The next car takes that same Toyota logic and adds hybrid fuel savings with Wagon Cargo. Number 5. 2012 to 2014 Toyota Prius V. Practical buyers should pay attention when the forgotten Prius is the one with the biggest usefulness. The Prius V does not get the attention of the regular Prius, and it does not look like the small crossover buyers think they need. That is why it can be a smart long-term tool. You get Toyota hybrid durability, wagon-style cargo space, easy loading, and fuel savings that keep paying you back month after month. Higher mile examples usually sit around $7,500 to $10,000, while a new Prius starts in the high $20,000 range, and a new small hybrid crossover can climb even higher. For 15 years of ownership, the budget has included engine oil, inverter coolant, engine coolant, tires, brakes, 12-volt batteries, suspension parts, spark plugs, and hybrid battery monitoring. A realistic long-term cost lands around $9,000 to $14,000, depending on battery health and how well the cooling system was treated. That number sounds serious until you compare it with fuel savings, brake life, and the cost of replacing vehicles every few years. The reason the Prius V survives is the Toyota hybrid setup. The gasoline engine works less hard, the hybrid transaxle avoids normal automatic drama, And regenerative braking can help brake parts last longer. Check hybrid battery health, brake feel, inverter coolant, oil level, tire wear, cargo area water leaks, and warning lights after a warm drive. Keep both cooling systems clean, change the oil on time, do not ignore battery fan cleanliness, and use good tires because cheap tires hurt mileage. In 2040, the Prius V still makes sense because cargo room and fuel savings never go out of style. Choose this car when you want a cheaper vehicle that can commute, haul, save fuel, and handle student or family life. I would buy this for someone who hates fuel stops and still needs space for strollers, school bags, tools, luggage, or a dog crate. It is not stylish, and that helps the price. The smart money does not care if the badge makes neighbors yawn. It cares that the hatch opens wide, the mileage stays strong, and the repair knowledge is everywhere. One more thing, do not treat hybrid age like a mystery. Get a proper battery health check, inspect the cooling fan area, and look for steady maintenance. A neglected hybrid can be costly, but a cared-for one can make fuel savings feel like a monthly raise. That is the kind of math payment buyers ignore. Next is the all-weather car for people who need snow confidence without buying a big SUV. Number 4. 2014 to 2015 Subaru XV Crosstrek 2.0. Bad weather does not care about horsepower, and that is why the Crosstrek earns its spot here. It is not quick, not fancy, and not the cheapest car to maintain. But for the right owner, it solves a real 15-year problem. The 2014 to 2015 XV Crosstrek gives standard all-wheel drive, higher ride height, hatchback utility, and better fuel economy than many older SUVs. It is newer than the bargain basement Subaru picks, but still findable under $10,000 when mileage is higher and records are honest. A new Crosstrek sits far above this budget, so the used one becomes the entry point into a small Subaru utility. Over 15 years, budget for oil changes, CVT fluid if equipped, differential fluid, coolant, matching tire sets, brakes, wheel bearings, suspension bushings, batteries, and maybe air conditioning or sensor repairs. Realistic cost is roughly $10,000 to $15,000 because all-wheel drive adds maintenance and tires matter more. It survives when the owner respects Subaru rules. Matching tires, fluid service, cooling care, and oil level checks are not optional. Ignore those basics, and the car becomes expensive. Respect them, and it can be stable through snow, gravel, rain, and rural roads for years. Check oil level, underbody rust, CVT behavior, wheel bearing noise, tire matching, service history, and whether warning lights stay off after a full warm drive. Rotate tires often. Replace tires in matching sets, service differential fluids, and never treat all-wheel drive as magic. In 2040, the Crosstrek still makes sense in snow states because small AWD cars with decent clearance are always useful. Choose this car when you need AWD confidence for weather, gravel, rain, or rural roads, but do not want a full SUV. The honest warning is costly. This is not a Sonic. Tires, wheel bearings, and fluid services cost more. But if your family lives where roads turn ugly in winter, that extra maintenance can be worth it. I would still choose records over low miles, because Subaru neglect hides in fluids, tires, and warning lights. A clean service history means the owner understood the rules. A cheap one with mismatched tires is not a bargain. It is a bill with roof rails. Buy the careful one, and it can carry a young driver through storms, college roads, and rough commutes. For a 15-year owner, the Crosstrek also has one advantage that does not show on a spec sheet. It fits changing weather and changing lives. A kid can learn in it, a parent can commute in it, and a small family can still use the hatch. That flexibility keeps people from replacing vehicles early. Replacing vehicles is where money disappears. If the Subaru passes the warm drive, rust check, tire check, and fluid check, it earns a serious look, even with higher miles and plain paint today too. The next car drives better than most small SUVs and keeps the repair story easier to understand. Number 3. 2013 to 2015 Mazda CX-5 2.0 or 2.5. Some small SUVs feel numb after one block, but the early CX-5 still gives a driver something honest. That matters over 15 years, because a car you hate driving gets replaced early, and replacing cars is where money disappears. I like the 2013 to 2015 CX-5 because Mazda kept the formula simple. You get Skyactiv 4-cylinder power, a regular 6-speed automatic, useful cargo height, good steering, and no turbo complexity. The 2.5 feels stronger, but the 2.0 can still work if the service history is clean. Today, higher-mile early examples usually sit around $7,000 to $10,000, while a new CX-5 starts just under $30,000 before taxes and fees. That difference can pay for years of tires, brakes, fluids, and repairs. Over 15 years, plan for oil changes, coolant, transmission fluid, tires, brakes, suspension wear, spark plugs, batteries, and maybe motor mounts or sensors. Realistic total cost is roughly $9,000 to $14,000 if rust is controlled and the drivetrain is not neglected. It survives because Mazda used a conventional layout when many small SUVs were getting heavier, duller, and more complicated. The 6-speed automatic also avoids the cheap CVT anxiety buyers feel in some rivals. In the real world, this is the SUV for someone who wants to keep liking the vehicle after the novelty wears off. A dull crossover can feel old in 3 years. A CX-5 with tight steering, decent tires, and a healthy suspension still feels alert after a decade. That keeps owners from shopping again, just because the car feels tired. Check rust underneath, engine mounts, transmission shift quality, suspension clunks, air conditioning, and whether the rear hatch area is dry. Drive it warm and make sure it shifts smooth, tracks straight, and does not clunk over rough pavement. Change transmission fluid, service coolant, rotate tires, and replace worn bushings before the car starts feeling loose. I would also inspect the rear shocks and front control arms because bad bushings can make a good Mazda feel broken. In 2040, the CX-5 still makes sense because practical size, natural engine response, and normal transmissions will still matter. Choose this car when you want a small SUV that feels good to drive and still keeps long-term repairs understandable. It is the pick for the owner who wants utility without feeling punished every mile. Number 2 is the Toyota for people who want space without buying a truck-shaped payment. Number 2, 2013 to 2015 Toyota Venza 2.7. Nobody knows whether to call the Venza a wagon, crossover, or big Camry, and that confusion is why it stays interesting. Buyers chasing SUVs want something taller. Sedan buyers think it looks too odd. Toyota people sometimes forget it exists. That opens the door for a long-term owner who wants comfort, cargo access, and Toyota repair logic without moving into a large SUV. I would target the 2013 to 2015 4-cylinder Venza, especially the 2.7-liter version, because it keeps the story simpler than the 6-cylinder. You get wide seats, a relaxed driving position, hatchback loading, and enough room that life changes do not push you into another vehicle. Higher mile examples can still show up around $7,000 to $10,000, while a new Toyota family crossover costs several times that before the finance office starts adding pressure. Over 15 years, expect oil changes, transmission fluid, coolant, tires, brakes, struts, batteries, spark plugs, motor mounts, rear suspension wear, hatch struts, and maybe small electrical items. Realistic maintenance and repair budget lands around $9,000 to $13,000 when the car starts with records and a dry underside. It survives because the 4-cylinder Toyota setup is familiar, part support is strong, and the body is useful enough that owners do not outgrow it quickly. This is the vehicle for somebody whose life keeps changing. One year it is work commuting, next year it is airport runs, home projects, kids, pets, grocery hauls, or helping a grown child move into an apartment. The Venza does not feel like a truck, and that matters for buyers who want easy entry, a smooth ride, and enough space without the fuel bill of a larger SUV. Check rear suspension noise, tire wear, cargo area leaks, automatic shift quality, air conditioning, oil seepage, and underbody rust. On the drive, it should feel stable, not floaty or loose. Keep fluids fresh, rotate tires, replace tired struts, and do not ignore small leaks because comfort cars get expensive when owners defer everything. I would also test the hatch, rear seats, and climate controls because family vehicles live or die by boring daily functions. In 2040, the Venza still makes sense because easy cargo loading, Toyota familiarity, and a calmer cabin will beat flashy complexity. Choose this car when you want one vehicle that can handle commuting now, family errands later, and cargo life without feeling like a truck. It is the grown-up choice for someone who wants space, but hates the idea of paying for size they do not need. Number 1 is the small SUV, with the best chance of staying useful through every family stage. Number 1, 2012 to 2014 Honda CR-V 2.4. Mileage scares people away from good CR-Vs, but a clean one with records can still be the longer play. This is not cheap because it is bad. It is cheaper because the odometer makes casual buyers nervous before they understand the car. I like the 2012 to 2014 CR-V with the 2.4-liter Honda 4-cylinder because it gives a proven drivetrain, practical cabin, easy cargo loading, good visibility, and enough size for real family life without becoming a large SUV. Higher mile examples can still land around $8,000 to $10,000, while a new CR-V starts around $30,000 before fees. That difference is not pocket change. It is years of maintenance money if you buy wisely. Over 15 years, budget for oil changes, transmission fluid, rear differential fluid on all-wheel drive models, coolant, tires, brakes, struts, batteries, starter or alternator work, air conditioning service, suspension bushings, and maybe door lock or window repairs. Realistic total cost is roughly $10,000 to $15,000, depending on mileage, rust, and all-wheel drive maintenance. It survives because Honda built it around a widely serviced 4-cylinder platform and a body that stays useful as life changes. It can teach a kid to drive, commute every day, carry sports gear, handle grocery runs, and later move into early family duty. This is the long-haul small SUV because it does not force one narrow life stage. A teenager can see out of it. A parent can load it without bending like a gymnast. A young family can use the rear seat and cargo area without feeling squeezed. That is how a car stays around. Check cold start noise, oil level, transmission shift quality, all-wheel drive service history, air conditioning performance, suspension noise, and rust under the rear. Drive it at city speed and highway speed, because a CR-V should feel smooth, stable, and easy to place. Service transmission fluid. Change rear differential fluid if equipped. Keep coolant fresh. Rotate tires, and fix suspension noise before it eats tires. I would also check the tailgate struts, rear cargo floor, and underbody brake lines because older SUVs hide little age signs in places shoppers ignore. In 2040, the CR-V still makes sense because small SUVs with simple engines, good visibility, and strong parts support will always have buyers. Choose this car when you want the safest, long-term small SUV choice under $10,000. And you are willing to buy a mileage with records. This is number 1 because it proves the whole video. If you buy the right car now, your kid can grow into it, learn in it, work from it, and still use it years later. I would rather own a high-mile CR-V with receipts than a low-mile mystery crossover with excuses. Records beat shine. Maintenance beats hope. The right CR-V is not exciting, but it keeps being useful after excitement fades. Subscribe for reliable long-term picks, simple inspection checks, and garage-tested rules that protect your wallet before payments trap your family. Buyer cheat sheet. A 15-year-old car is not the cheapest car on day 1. It is the car that still makes sense after tires, brakes, fluids, batteries, suspension, and the first real repair. Sonic is the lowest entry point. Verano gives mature comfort. Taurus is the highway mile sedan. Scion TC is the fun Toyota Bone Coupe. Acura ILX is the first adult car. Lexus CT is the premium fuel saver. Camry is the grow into family sedan. Prius V is the cargo and fuel play. Crosstrek is the all-weather pick. CX-5 is the driver of a small SUV. Venza is the roomy crossover wagon answer. CR-V is the long-haul small SUV. Do not spend the whole $10,000 on the purchase. Keep cash for fluids, tires, brakes, and the first repair. A $9,000 car with no service money can become stressful fast. An $8,000 car with records and fresh maintenance can be the smarter move. Buy clean fluids, straight braking, quiet suspension, no overheating, and boring receipts. Also, think about who will own the car next. If your kid may inherit it, skip the fragile bargain and buy the vehicle with parts, records, and a repair path any town mechanic understands. One more rule: Do not confuse lasting with maintenance-free. Every car here still needs tires, fluids, brakes, batteries, and attention. The difference is that these cars usually reward that attention instead of punishing it. That is what we want for a 15-year plan. We are not chasing perfect cars. We are chasing cars that make repairs understandable, parts available, and ownership calmer when life gets busy. That is how families stay free from payments and surprise repair panic later. That is the car your kid may still be driving when the payment buyer is already on vehicle number 3. Tag someone who has a kid about to start driving. Tag someone tired of car payments. Click the next video before a dealership sells them regret.